Japan, after 101 tough days, learns a hard lesson about U.S. alliance. July 17, 2025. Just 5 months ago, President Donald Trump praised the fantastic relationship between the U.S. and Japan. But that warmth has faded. This week, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba received a stern letter from Trump, threatening tariffs unless Japan agrees to a new trade deal. The surprise message rattled Japanese officials. Despite a 70-year security alliance, Tokyo is learning that friendships with Washington carries little weight in Trump's second term. Japan is not special enough to Trump, said Mireya Solis of the Brookings Institution. He sees trade deficits, not allies. Japan had hoped early engagement in trade talks would help with negotiations starting in April. Trump even gifted Japan's trade envoy a mega hat. But little progress followed. Domestic pressures, including Ishiba's re-election fight, prevented concessions on autos, steel, and rice. Japan sought a tariff exemption, similar to previous allies, but Trump refused. Japan is being treated the same as other Asian nations, said Tokuko Shiranita of the Asia Group, frustrating policymakers in Tokyo. Despite Japan being the largest foreign investor in the U.S. since 2019, creating 1 million jobs, Trump remains unmoved. It feels like we're still in a dense fog, said Japan's chief negotiator Ryusei Akazawa. Trump's current stance is harsher than expected. They no longer seem to treat Japan with special consideration, said Hiroshi Oe, former trade negotiator. Experts argue that Japan relied too heavily on goodwill and underestimated Trump's skepticism. Kenji Minamura of the Canon Institute called this strategic mistake. He believes Japan is now dealing with a fundamentally different U.S. administration. Trump's mistrust of Japan dates back to the 1980s, when he viewed its rising economy as a threat. That attitude softened during his first term thanks to close ties with former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. But Abe's 2022 assassination left a diplomatic void. He's from the Japan-bashing generation, said Minamura. Now those sentiments have resurfaced. As trade tensions rise, Japanese officials fear the strain could weaken regional security cooperation, emboldening adversaries like China, North Korea, and Russia. A sour relationship encourages our rivals, said former Ambassador Ichiro Fujisaki, urging compromise even if it's a big win for the US and a small win for Japan. Yet compromise has proven difficult. Trump is focused on autos and rice, Japan's most sensitive trade issues. Tokyo has little flexibility on car tariffs, and domestic politics complicate any shift on rice. In 2024, Japan exported 1.4 million cars to the U.S. But it imported only 16,074. American cars, often seen as too large for Japanese roads, remain unpopular. Japan might consider adjusting safety standards but resists lifting tariffs. Rice is even more contentious. Japan's cherished japonica grain is a cultural staple, and farmers are fiercely protected. Trump cites Japan's high rice tariffs as evidence of an unfair market, though most U.S. rice enters Japan tax-free under WTO rules. A recent rice shortage has forced Japan to import more, potentially opening the door to U.S. grain. While political risks remain, some analysts say increasing imports could serve the national interest, supporting consumers and trade ties. It actually serves the national interest, said OE. It can create a win-win outcome for both Japan and its partners. By the Washington Post, story by Michelle Lee, Chi Tanaka.